Good morning, everyone. My name is Councilmember Dr. Joni Ricks-Oddie, and I have the honor of representing District 9, right here where we are gathered today for this very, very important town hall. I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping right as we begin. To start us off, I do want to highlight that translation services are available in the back of the auditorium. Actually, I think it's on the side right here, in Spanish and Tagalog. So if you need it, please use it. I also want to add that many of you all see the cameras in the back. That is Long Beach TV. They are here. We know that it's a Saturday morning and there's a lot of things that compete for people's interests and needs and families, etc. So we wanted to make sure that that information was available. So for the staff presentation, we are going to record it so that it is available to people after the fact for you or anyone else that you want to share it with so they know the information that was shared today. However, Long Beach LBTV will be leaving after the staff presentation, and that is just for everybody's comfort. We know that not necessarily everybody wants to have their public comment or questions, etc. recorded, so they're going to leave after the staff presentations, but all of the staff, myself, all of our elected officials, everybody else will be staying. You'll just see LBTV leave after the staff presentations because it will just be recorded. And then lastly, again, this is a fantastic turnout. We know this is a really important issue, and I just really, you don't understand how much I want to stress how important it is to see your faces, to know that your voices are heard, always, by myself, by my council colleagues, by Councilmember Thrash-Ntuk, and so that's why we are here today. And so again, thank you for your time, for taking your time on a Saturday morning as we come together as a community to discuss a long, and I'm gonna say a long-standing issue along Long Beach Boulevard. I've seen firsthand the impact that prostitution and human trafficking have had on our residents, our businesses, and the overall sense of safety and well-being in our neighborhoods. That's why in April of this year, together with Councilmember Tunua Thrash-Ntuk, who is also here, we co-authored the item requesting an assessment of the city's strategic framework addressing human trafficking and public safety concerns on Long Beach Boulevard. I can sense my staff telling me to slow down. You know, I'm in Chicago and I talk fast. As a result of that directive, the city manager's office developed a report outlining next steps we can take to address this issue and recommendations that we will hear about today. Before we bring up our city departments to provide the presentation, I do want to set expectations for today's event. As there are a lot of rightful emotions around this longstanding issue, I would like to ask that we all remain respectful in this space, refraining from yelling or speaking out of turn to ensure staff has enough time to complete the presentation. Public commenters get their full time to share their thoughts, and so that we can maintain a safe gathering for all in attendance. We will begin with a presentation from city staff, briefly discussing the root causes of this concern and recommendations informed by community and staff feedback around next steps. This will include both short, medium, and long-term solutions. We will then have public comment for those who have signed up to speak for 1 minute to share comments, questions, whatever you want to share. We will also want to make sure we can accommodate as many people as possible. Once all the public commenters have spoken, staff will have the opportunity to address questions during the public comment portion. My staff will take notes on questions, and presenters will be taking notes as well. If we do not get to everything during the answer portion of the day, we will have 30 minutes at the end of the event for interaction and networking and one-on-one conversation where the audience can speak with staff directly. As always, we will also have comment cards available for you to write down any concerns that were not addressed, and our team will do our best to provide you with answers. Please make sure that you include your contact information on the comment card if you would like follow-up from my staff. You can give your comment card to any of my staff members. Can they wave at them? There's Anthony, there's Angelica, there's Veronica, there's Alexa. You can give your comment card to anybody wearing a Dr. Joni logo. Staff, everybody waved. And with that, and before I do that, I do want to just acknowledge that we have representatives from a lot of offices. We have the lovely Jeanette Christian from Supervisor Janice Hahn's office. She's here with her newborn. We have 2 representatives from the Compton City Council. We have Lily Darden. And a gentleman I just met, which is James Bowdard. Jonathan Bowdard. We also have Diana Craighead, president of our Long Beach Unified School District Board. We have Lizeth from Assemblymember Lowenthal's office. We have Sean Kearns from Congresswoman Barragan's office. We have Valerie from Assemblymember Gibson's office. And we also have Mia Hernandez from Senator Lena Gonzalez's office. So again, I want you all to know that there's a lot of eyes on North Long Beach. Please know that you have council representatives that are consistently representing you and talking about this issue, advocating with it at the county, state, and federal level to make sure that the resources that we need turn into action. Right? Today is not about telling you all about the things that we have done in the past. It's about telling you about the future of what is going to happen here in North Long Beach. And with that, I would love to turn it over to my lovely North Long Beach counterpart, Councilwoman Tunua Thrash-Ntuk of District 8.
All right, good morning. So thank you, Councilwoman, for kicking us off right on time because the people are ready for some action today. So, as was stated, I am Councilwoman Tunua Thrash-Ntuk, and I represent the 8th District. And over again, you're going to hear and be so proud to know that not only am I here, but your Councilwoman Ricks-Oddie is here, and together with our staffs, we are making sure that our city is responsive to North Long Beach. This morning, as was stated, we have the city manager's office here and various city departments who will be talking about the issue of combating human trafficking in our community. We've talked about it already. The Councilwoman has said we want to talk about solutions that span both public health and public safety because human trafficking requires that we tackle this issue from a number of different angles. It is complex. Why are people in our communities conducting these kinds of transactions? It requires interdepartmental response and a special set of dedication to really try and understand how we can address this issue. Outside of our city departments, one aspect of this coordination is your voice. You as a community. That is why it was important to the Councilwoman and myself to stand with you here in the community and all your signs that you presented and all of your voices, because we want to make sure that you know we stand here side by side with you. I couldn't be more proud and have such gratitude for all of the advocacy that you all are doing. Long Beach Boulevard stretches across not only the city of Long Beach, the city of Compton, the city of Linwood, and so we're working together because we know it's not just about moving this issue from one community to another. We've got to work together to make sure that we have an environment that we all deserve to live in. So no, and the Councilwoman said it, we got the same talking points, girlfriend. We are working tirelessly together to make sure that North Long Beach has its champions to thrive. So I'm going to close because I want to make sure we get to our business at hand. I want to thank you for taking your time today. It's a Saturday, and we've got a lot of things to do in the middle of the school year. We are in a school campus because we know this is an epicenter in our community. Your voices are vital to helping us shape the right policy for the city of Long Beach. So I hope that our time together this morning will be productive, that the presentation will give us a way to begin this conversation so that we can together address human trafficking. So I'll take an applause for that, that's right. So as I take my seat, I did my speech, I would like to bring up, we said to city leadership, which includes our mayor, the 2 black women councilwomen in the north are making sure that we are addressing an important issue. Mayor, we need you to be out. And you know what? He responded to that call. So we'd like to invite Mayor Rex Richardson up to the stage to address us.
Well, I'll tell you, this dynamic duo we have here, let's hear it for the councilwomen, Tunua and Joni. And it's so many places everyone could be this morning, but look at this incredible turnout at Starr King. Let's hear it for the residents of the north side of Long Beach, my neighbors, for showing up today. I'm proud to say my neighbors, because I'm proud to be the only mayor that has ever lived here in the north side of Long Beach, and I still live right here in North Long Beach. You know, I'll tell you, this issue, generations, I say about 50 years of generations of communities have dealt with this time and time again. And, it's a cycle, and it's time for that cycle to break. We struggled with this issue. You all remember up on Long Beach Boulevard, the Starr King. I see Jimmy was out there with us, the Longwood neighbors, the Coolidge neighbors. We struggled with this issue. And, and here we are again, 10 years later, struggling with the issue. It actually got a little bit worse after the pandemic. And it's time for us to say, all with one voice, all of us, the city, the state, the county, both council offices working together, the schools, all of us together to say enough is enough, and this has to be a #1 priority for all of us. So, as the mayor of the whole city, of the entire city, from North Long Beach to Belmont Shore, this is a #1 priority for us. And I'll be honest, when I was a council member here, I don't know that we had that kind of support the way the council members have this support today. But it won't be easy. It's going to require you to work together. Remember why we're here and why we're focused. This is about the future. This is about our children. This is about our daughters, making sure that we do everything we can to make sure that they have opportunities to achieve their highest and best potential in their lives. And it's not okay for even one of them to be left out on this street. So this is something that we want to do and finally break the cycle. So council members, you have my full support. I want to thank you for your leadership, and let's get to work. So I think next up we introduce Teresa. Go for it.
Thank you. Sometimes our mayor forgets that he's not the council member anymore, but it's okay. We forgive him for that. So again, yes, we're going to move to. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilwoman. Before we begin, I also want to acknowledge that we have Compton College trustee Juanita Doppelmoore in the house as well. And with that being said, I'm going to introduce our wonderful Deputy City Manager, Teresa Chandler, who is going to kick us off today with the presentations.
All right, give me 1 second to get situated up here. Can I give that to you? All right. All right, good morning, everybody. Oh my goodness, Saturday morning. I was just on the soccer field, so please forgive my tennis shoes. My daughter was playing at 8 o'clock this morning, so good to be here, but I got to leave the soccer field knowing she's in safe hands to come be here with all of you. So I'm really blessed to be here, and I'm really grateful to all of you for your support through this time and for your advocacy. We were ready for this. The city team was ready for this, and so we've got a presentation for you. We were told to keep it very succinct and only talk about solutions and where we're headed, so that's what we did. So if I do any history, it'll be less than 15 seconds, I promise, okay? But we're gonna go through a presentation, and then we're gonna get into hearing from you all as well. All right, so as we talked about, we were asked as a team, so Councilwoman Ricks-Oddie and Councilman Thrash-Ntuk, we're very grateful for your advocacy and your commitment to this topic. The staff were ready, we were ready for that. And so back in April, they asked us to dive deep into the topic fully. And so myself and another deputy, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Teresa Chandler, I'm sorry. I'm a deputy city manager, and I have dove into this work with Grace Yoon, who's another deputy city manager who happens to be in London this morning. So we dove in with a full city team, all of the city departments, to really dive into this very long report, which I'm not gonna go through with you today, but I will give you a link so that you can read it on your own. And then in August, we presented the report, and now we're just rolling it out. We're seeing what the things that we can do, how we can move forward. All right, so our agenda for today, as I already said, you're gonna meet the team, you're gonna hear from different departments, and then we're gonna hear from you all. And then we are gonna do some questions and responses and some comments, and we're gonna give you some opportunities to connect with us, not just this morning, but in other spaces as well. All right. So before we meet the team, though, I want to take just a moment to recognize the bigger picture. And we know this is a very complicated issue. But human trafficking doesn't just happen in isolation. It's connected to deeper issues like poverty and housing instability and the lack of opportunity. When people don't have access to safe housing, education, and steady work, traffickers step in and take advantage of that vulnerability. Some neighborhoods have faced years of underinvestment. And certain groups, especially women, youth, LGBTQ+, and communities of color are impacted the most. That's why this work goes beyond enforcement. It's really about prevention and services and connection, and creating spaces for young people, connecting residents to job training and mental health services, expanding access to housing, and strengthening community programs that help people stay supported and stable. So real change happens when all of us, all the city departments, our schools, our nonprofits, our faith organizations, our residents, when we work together to make every neighborhood in Long Beach a place where people feel valued, connected, and safe. And that is a very stronghold that we're really working towards that every day, in and out. I know it's been a conversation for years on where we're going, but we are solely committed to getting us there. So we know that it's a really complex issue, and addressing it comes with real challenges. So as mentioned in the last slide, traffickers exploit vulnerabilities like poverty, homelessness, and past trauma, which is why support services and prevention are so essential. We're also adapting to changes in state law that limit early intervention, so focusing instead on outreach, education, and partnerships is key. Reliable data remains a challenge, and our staff and resources are stretched really thin. The good news is, though, we have committed partners and community members ready to keep pushing forward. So our teamwork and our creativity and our persistence, even if we don't have all the resources up front that we want and that we need, we are going to leverage what we have across our teams and across our communities to get us there. All right. So enough from me right now. We obviously know these challenges are big, but they are not bigger than us. So the truth is that no single department or organization can solve this alone. It takes all of us working together, and we're going to share information, we're going to stand united with the community, and we're going to just be in it. So there are multiple departments, each bringing a different role and perspective. So we're going to pass the mic around, and you're going to hear who's in the room with us as far as our city departments. There's several of them that are on the stage here with me, and then there are also several that are in the front row. So we're going to go through that very quickly just so you know who's here, and then we're going to keep moving forward. All right, so if we could start with Teresa.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Teresa Gomez. I'm the Human Dignity Program Manager for the City of Long Beach. My part of this issue is part of my job is human trafficking awareness. There is a difference between prostitution and human trafficking. So that's what I do as part of, also a member of the Long Beach Human Trafficking Task Force. Many of you may not know that your city has a community-led human trafficking task force that meets once a month. But what we're doing as far as the city, we also have, through the Department of Health and Human Services, a program called Safe Passage, which also is in partnership with the school district. Are any of you familiar with Safe Passage? Some of you, great. And that's something that the funding is being discussed now about bringing, we currently have Safe Passage in the Jordan High School area. Safe Passages are individuals, we have about 6 individuals that are funded to walk the perimeter of the school district in the morning, early in the morning, 7:30 in the morning, throughout the day, through the park, and kind of talk to the students, find out if something is happening, support them even after school. It's been an amazing program that we're funding, and we also have it there's other schools, Franklin Middle School, Lincoln Elementary, and Whittier. So there's talks about expanding that program over to this side. So, but the thing that you'll hear today is that all of this effort has to be in partnership. The city cannot do it alone. We're here to support, and we want to step in with you, alongside you. I'm really proud to see people advocating, and I'm really proud that this issue has gotten the attention it's gotten recently. And thank you to the 2 councilwomen for that attention, and to our mayor who have brought attention to this, and now there's funding going to be going toward it. I'm here. I've been worked the city for 27 years, and those that know me, I have some friends in the audience. I'm a strong advocate for community improvement. So however you can, whatever ideas you have that we can support you, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be here. Again, Teresa Gomez with the Department of Health and Human Services.
Good morning, North Long Beach. I'll introduce myself as Commander Hughes. Most of you I have met. I see a lot of faces. I see Starr King, Ramona Park, DeForest, some business owners who I spoke with. Thank you for being here to listen to the concerns from these important issues that we have this morning. Some of which I'm going to talk about, we've heard, we've talked about, we've had discussions. I also want to recognize the city manager in the room, the mayor, the city officials, especially the council officers. It's been a great partnership. I've been a commander of North Long Beach since January, and I can tell you, it takes all of us. One thing that I reiterate to all of my peers and my department partners is that we have a very active community groups in North Long Beach, and you all are here represented today, and I'm looking forward to having this discussion with you all. And thank the city manager's office for putting this together, because I can see from the signage, I see the passion in the room, and I see the interest in this matter. And thank you all for being here this morning.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Allison Spindler-Ruiz. I'm the city's planning manager. I know many folks here in the room because we've been working on land use and built environment interventions for years up in North Long Beach. And I'm excited to be here today to talk about how can we take that further, what more can we do to transform our built environment, make it safer, and make it work better for the neighborhoods that are here. So thanks for being here.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out. My name is Eli Ben Shmuel. I am a deputy city attorney here with the city attorney's office. I'm going to be talking today a bit about both how state law changed and then what some of the options we have here within the city to make some legislative change and what the challenges are in trying to do so. But I have a whole slide about that, so I won't talk about it right now.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jonathan Bolin. I'm the Business Operations Bureau Manager for the Department of Public Works. Today, I'll be in my role as Business Operations Bureau for Public Works. We oversee the Elevate 28 Infrastructure Investment Plan. We'll be touching on a few of those projects that touch right here in North Long Beach in our presentation. As well, the Automated Speed Enforcement Program, will be touching on that as well. Just a little bit about myself. I'm a fourth-generation resident of Long Beach. My mom graduated from Jordan. I was born at Memorial. And my kids, we bought our first house here at Artesia and Downey in the Collins neighborhood. And my children are fifth-generation residents in the city. So it's an honor to be here with you this morning.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mirna H. Hassan. I'm here with the Long Beach City Prosecutor's Office. I'm on the Human Trafficking Unit over in Long Beach. Before I came here, I worked with the California Department of Justice on their Special Prosecutions Unit, which also focused on human trafficking. Thank you all for being here today. This is long overdue. We're very happy to be here and work on solutions with all of you.
Save the best for last, huh? Hi, everybody. I'm Malini Basu with Economic Development, and I help lead our rapid response program, a vision that the mayor had from about 3 years ago. We'll talk a little bit about rapid response, but also I hear your voices loud and clear. I'm a former journalist of 20 years, so I've covered many of these stories. So looking forward to meeting you all after this.
Doing government affairs, focusing all the state legislation that's impacting this issue.
Good morning. My name is Allison King. I'm Director of Health and Human Services. As you heard from Mr. Gomez, we are here doing safe passages, but we also do homelessness and human services in the area. And of course, we are committed to your health, safety, and wellness. So you'll hear more
We do honestly work interdepartmentally in all of our efforts, and so this is not just for the purpose of this human trafficking task force, but we do this all the time. So know that we hear you. We are here to respond, to ensure that action is taken, and we just thank you for your presence and the leadership of our council, our mayor, and our city manager.
Good morning, Long Beach. I'm Margaret Madden, Neighborhood Improvement Officer with the Department of Community Development. I want to thank all of you for coming out. This is really exciting. I have never seen an effort where the residents and the city and city government and elected officials are all looking to tackle a problem together like this. So this really is groundbreaking. And our Neighborhood Resource Center has resources to help your neighborhoods to try to combat this problem, including $5,000 grants for neighborhood projects.
Nice. Good morning, everyone. My name is Joni Ricks-Oddie. I oversee the Business License Division for Financial Management, and I oversee the team that processes all of the business license applications here in the city of Long Beach. We've got over 30,000 active business licenses going on right now with the city of Long Beach. I also oversee a team of business license inspectors, and those business license inspectors work together with all the various departments that are represented here, and they make sure that there's any unlicensed business activity is investigated, and we make sure all the businesses are acting accordingly to their business license. And on a personal note, this is a homecoming for me. I went to Starr King Elementary. Yes, from kindergarten through 5th grade. My brother still lives in our childhood home right down the street on Beachley Avenue. So what happens in the north side really does impact me personally, and I make sure that I input that into everything that I do as a business services officer. So it's really good to be here.
Good morning, I'm Tracy Hall. I'm with the Long Beach City Prosecutor's Office, and I oversee diversion programs.
Hello, my name is Sergeant James Mondragon. I'm here with Long Beach PD. To my right is Commander Scott Jensen. I'm in charge, or one of the sergeants in charge of the unit that would investigate human trafficking after a response from patrol.
Yeah, and obviously I oversee the whole division with Sergeant Mondragon. We work in partnership with Commander Hughes out in the field. Comes to us, we investigate everything after the fact.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, so as you can see, we pulled some of our subject matter experts into the room. All these folks also contributed to that report. So it's a long report, but I appreciate the length of the report because it really dives into all the work that has happened over the years, and then where we're headed. So I encourage you to just take a look just so that you can ride with us through this journey. We're riding with you through the journey, and we're really looking forward to what's coming next. So thank you, everybody, for your introductions. You'll be hearing more from folks later in the presentation. Okay, so just very quickly, as I mentioned, within the report, there's a lot of recommendations that emerged. Ideas range from improving coordination and outreach to exploring new prevention and enforcement strategies. Some of these opportunities will take more resources, more staffing, more council direction, but we can move some of these forward, and that hasn't stopped us from making progress. So we're gonna move what we can, and then we're gonna keep pushing for more resources so we can do the rest. We also want to thank all of you. Many of these recommendations reflect the feedback we've heard in community spaces for years. I know there's a lot of input that has shaped the priorities, and we're going to talk about a lot of those today, and I'm sure there's more ideas that you have. We also want to hear that as well. Some of the efforts are already in motion, as I mentioned, and then others will take more time to balance competing priorities, but we're going to get there. So the next few slides, we're going to really dive into what's already underway, what's progressing more slowly, and finally, what will require new investments to bring to life. All right, so very quickly, I'm going to talk about the big picture, the legislative work that we've been doing as a city, okay? So at the state level, Long Beach continues to advocate for policies that strengthen prevention, survivor support, and coordination around human trafficking. In the year's last legislative cycle, the city submitted letters of support for two important bills, so AB 379 and AB 562, both of which have been signed into law and will take effect in 2026. AB 379, that's authored by Assemblymember Schultz, established stronger penalties for those who purchase sex and creates a survivor support fund that directs fines toward community-based organizations providing recovery services. It also supports a new human trafficking prevention prosecution program to strengthen coordination between district attorneys across the state. AB 562, that's by Assemblymember focuses on prevention by improving family placement for foster youth, a population that is significantly overrepresented among trafficked victims. The goal is to keep youth connected to family and stability rather than falling through systemic gaps that traffickers often exploit. And then the city is also monitoring upcoming a two-year bill that could shape future prevention and enforcement tools. These include AB 63, which would reinstate portions of the loitering law while requiring outreach and service referrals before arrests, and AB 549, which focuses on reducing trafficking risks at large-scale events like the World Cup and the Olympics. We were also invited last week to attend a hearing, a Senate hearing. We went to Pomona, and Councilwoman Thrash-Ntuk testified at the hearing. She did a beautiful job speaking of the public health implications and the importance of really diving into this work. And so we will be advocating and continuing to advocate for more work at that level. Also at the state level, Long Beach is represented by one senator, Senator Gonzalez, and 2 assembly members, Mike Gibson and Josh Lowenthal. The city advocates for legislation, but it is critical for these representatives to hear from the residents about what matters most in their communities. So I'd like to, we acknowledged all the folks that are in the room, but again, just our list of Supervisor Hahn, Assemblymember Lowenthal, Congresswoman Barragan, Assemblymember Gibson, and Senator Gonzalez. So those are our legislators. Please connect with those offices and do that advocating and talk about those areas that you want to push forward within legislation. All right, so I'm going to turn this mic over to Ellie.
Again, good morning. Thank you for having me. I am Deputy City Attorney Ellie Ben-Shmuel. I just want to speak a little bit about what the options are within the city for some legislation within that would go through City Council and what the challenges are in doing so. I think that everybody that is sitting here understands that state law changed a few years ago. But basically what they did was said that the crime of loitering for the purposes of prostitution is no longer a crime. It's not something that anybody can arrest for. So that means that if you have somebody simply loitering and you know exactly what they're there for, it's still not something that our police officers can go over and basically detain them for. And so that has changed what it is that our officers are able to do. Now, because of that change, and because of just generally speaking the United States Constitution and the California Constitution, there are limits on what it is that the City Council can do. And we have been exploring actively with the City Prosecutor's Office about what some of our potential options would be. So for example, the city could not simply reinstitute an ordinance that says you cannot loiter for the purposes of prosecution. The state has already said you cannot do that, and therefore we're done. So what it can do, though, is potentially establish things like sensitive zones at which people cannot loiter, and then basically enforce that. The issue that comes there, however, is that simply loitering, simply being somewhere is not a crime in the United States. You cannot simply be arrested for being someplace. If you are going to be arrested, there are some other crimes. So for example, Penal Code Section 653, small letter B, is a crime of loitering by a school when you don't have any business being there. However, even there has to be warnings that are issued. There has to be, the opportunity to leave. And if you have any real business being there, again, it's just not a crime. So what the city has been talking about is potentially creating some sensitive zones in areas in which we say that you need to have real business in order to be around that area. So examples would be places like daycare centers or, other places where like elderly, homes, et cetera. You can't just simply designate the entire city to be a sensitive zone. It has to be very targeted to a specific type of business and to a specific type of threats. And we have been working to see, number one, on that side of it, what areas can we target as being part of those sensitive zones? And then the second part of it is, how is it that we can establish these laws so that the loitering laws would be constitutional? In other words, we have to target specific activity in that area that is a crime in order to be able to get people moved on from that area. So that's where we are, and we are continuing to move forward and to make sure that what it is that the city passes will be available, enforceable, and effective in combating this horrible situation. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm looking at you for the green cue. That means hurry up and talk. Hey, guys, so just about a couple of months ago, we did some corridor walks, District 9, 8, on Long Beach Boulevard. Hi, guys. On Long Beach Boulevard. And I see a lot of faces, a lot of business owners that we spoke to in their business itself. We heard your concerns. So this is something we've been doing throughout the year. I help lead also the rapid response program, which I mentioned, which is if you have a busted window or there's vandalism, within 24 to 48 hours, either I will show up, I will call you, or somebody from our team will show up. And guess what? There is a $1,000 grant that you could be eligible for, which is called our VIP grant. So if you had a busted window or vandalism, please do apply. The program is still open. We're accepting applications. The other thing is, just a little bit of a secret here, we have a safe and secure program coming up. So that's gonna entail some lighting as well as some other cameras. I can't talk too much about it, but I am telling you guys that is in the pipeline, that's coming up. But I'm happy to talk to anyone after this about our VIP grant program and also our rapid response program. Got you. Who's next? Allison.
Thank you. Wonderful. So you heard from Margaret Madden in the introductions, and she and I work together in the Community Development Department. Margaret oversees the Neighborhood Resource Center and helps to provide neighborhood services. And there's been additional funding allocated through the work here, through the human trafficking discussion for a call to action against human trafficking campaign, other community activations and events that can be supported through our Neighborhood Resource Center and neighborhood services. Many of you are already doing great activities like these ones when it comes to community walks, cleanups, beautification projects, local engagement, and neighborhood events. And we now have more resources to be able to support more of that. So please be thinking about and coming to talk to us about the kinds of interventions and activations you think would be most impactful and how we can build on that momentum. I also want to talk about, in addition to sort of events and activations, the importance of environmental changes and visual deterrence. It's one small part of the solution, but it's an important one in terms of thinking about, is there visibility from the street? Are there pockets that are not well enough lit, that are hard to see, where activity tends to happen? And what can we do about that? Everything from landscaping or murals or beautification to other visual improvements. I know that's not a panacea, but it's a very important first start, and we look forward to having additional resources to be able to do even more of these with you in the future. And I'll turn it over to Teresa.
Good morning again. Teresa Gomez with the Department of Health and Human Services. Again, part of my job is human trafficking awareness. And that is something that I really, really emphasize, is that we have to be aware of what is human trafficking. So I work with the Long Beach Human Trafficking Task Force to bring that awareness to our city. We do it to parents, neighborhood associations, businesses. So if there's anybody who would like to have a training on what is human trafficking as opposed to prostitution, you know, and how to keep your children safe, make sure to get in touch with me. I will be here, and I have a lot of information that you can take with you. The other thing that I wanted to share is that we have safe zones. If you're familiar with the Ron Arias Health Equity Center here at Jordan, by the Jordan behind Jordan High School by Houghton Park. Safe zones are something that we need to have more in our city. And a safe zone is a place where staff are trained. There's a big sign that says this is a youth safe zone where youth can come into the center and ask for help if they're in immediate danger, and the staff are trained to respond to their needs there. And those are things that, those are another resources that we have for our community. Again, we talked about the Safe Passage program. Again, that's something that's very effective that also takes, advocacy, but we need the support of community as well to support these programs. And I think that's all I have for now. Thank you. Allison?
In addition to what Teresa mentioned, there will be a grand opening soon for the former Luxury Inn. That was a former nuisance motel here in the area with significant calls for service. This presents an extreme opportunity to activate this in a way that will provide services to formerly homeless persons for interim shelter. We are opening 78 rooms there at 5950 Long Beach Boulevard. In addition, there is a wellness clinic that we hope to activate soon at the Ron Arias Health Center that will be focused on women. That has not yet been finalized and approved, but the councilwoman has been adamant about activating that space for clinical service to ensure that vulnerable communities such as this are cared for, and particularly this clinic will focus on women. But we are grateful for the Home Key Award of $20 million to the city that made this all possible.
Good morning again, everybody. Again, Jonathan Bolin, Public Works. Just really quickly, want to touch on a few Elevate 28 projects that are slated to be right here, not in general North Long Beach, right, but right here where we are today. Before we get into these, I just want to say, outside of roadway improvements, Ramona Park Signature Playground is opening, I believe, next week, and Davenport Park was expanded as part of Elevate 28 as well. Specifically for where we are today, the Artesia Great Boulevard project was recently completed. This project was $45 million, mainly supported by outside funding. So local city funding, it was about $500,000 of Measure A. The rest of that $45 million was made up of external funding that we received for that project. That project was a 3.2-mile corridor from city limit to city limit, so from Downey to Harbor. We rehabilitated the sidewalk, roadway, protected bike lanes, updated street signage, 4 new traffic smart signals, 19 improved bus stops, 6 new crosswalks, 400 new street trees, median improvements, new pavement, and the installation of an intelligent transportation system, which means the signals should be synced now. So if you get on a good circuit, you should be able to drive down Artesia without as much stopping. Now, that is a completed project. We do have 2 additional projects in Elevate 28. One is our Artesia Boulevard adjacent place-based improvements. And so what that means is we knew when we were going to do Artesia Boulevard, there were going to be side streets and ancillary residential street improvements that were not included in that project scope. This is $1.8 million of funding set aside specifically to improve further spots along Artesia Boulevard, including North Long Beach, so where we are right now at that corner. As well, we have another $1.8 million specifically for North Long Beach Boulevard improvements, and that is specifically from Del Amo to Greenleaf Avenue at city limits at Compton. We are currently working through with Council District 9 to come up with specific improvements, but this could be right-of-way improvements, additional street furniture, landscaping, but most importantly for this conversation, street and pedestrian enhanced lighting. To make sure the street is visible at night and make sure there are not dark pockets along the street. Next slide. So we also have the automated speed enforcement pilot program. This was AB 645, which was passed a few years back. Long Beach was selected as a pilot city. We have identified 18 locations throughout the city to implement this automated speed enforcement system. The map has been released, and we can definitely talk more in depth on this during the networking session. But specifically for where we are, there are 2 automated speed enforcement pilot sites, one between Artesia and Greenleaf, and one between Market and Victoria. And if we just zoom out a little further, there's actually 5 locations in this area in North Long Beach. San Francisco is the city that is farthest along in this pilot. They have actually implemented issuing citations now, and within the first few months of issuing citations, they have seen speeding drop by 70%. So that's incredible. I do want to also just mention with this program, it is the law that any revenue received from the citations has to be reinvested back into Vision Zero and traffic calming improvements. So this is not a general fund windfall for the city. This has to be specifically reinvested to lessen pedestrian and vehicular deaths. And I do want to give Ryan Kelly, our senior traffic engineer, just a few moments. He is overseeing our neighborhood traffic mitigation program, as well as this automated speed enforcement program. And I just wanted to give him a few moments to go into a bit more detail about what we can expect in regards to timeline of the implementation of the program. Ryan? Thank you. Yeah.
Good morning, y'all. Ryan Kelly, Senior Traffic Engineer in the Traffic Engineering Division of the Engineering Bureau of the Public Works Department. In terms of the implementation for automated speed enforcement, right now we have our system use policy and system impact report out for public comment. So it's on the city's website. I can provide you a link for that. We're hoping that, with community feedback, we'll have those finalized in the near future and have them adopted by the City Council in around December. From there, in January of 2026, we will install speed feedback signs at the locations where we're proposing automated speed enforcement devices and conduct preliminary speed counts to see, how fast people are going with that implementation. Then in spring, the devices and additional signage will be deployed, and there'll be a minimum 30-day public information campaign, so everyone will know exactly what's happening with these devices. By summer 2026, we will have system activation, which will include a 60-day warning period. So when we turn these cameras on for the first 60 days, it's just warnings that are being issued. Following that, in fall 2026, that's when citations will start being issued. So, Jonathan mentioned that San Francisco was the first one out of the gate on this project. They noticed that during the warning period, there were a lot of people getting warnings. And as soon as those citations turned on, it dropped significantly. So we're hoping for the same thing here because we have a lot of streets where we can make some headway on speeding vehicles. Thanks. I'll be around later for networking as well.
Thank you, Ryan. And I just want to say, Ryan and I and the rest of city leadership, we are not hoping for millions and millions of dollars of revenue. We are hoping that these citations reduce speeding. So I just want to mention that. And Ryan and I will be around in the networking session. We talked about future improvements on Long Beach Boulevard and Artesia adjacent. We really want to hear from you. If you have specific locations that you want us to know about, I will stay here as long as I can to have those conversations once we have that time. So thank you all.
Hey everybody, can you hear me? Stan. Okay. I just don't want to bother you guys with my voice. I don't have that nice of a voice. So we previously met. My name is Mirna H. I'm with the Long Beach City Prosecutor's Office. I don't want to go into too much fluff with you guys. You guys are here because you want action, and I'm going to speak to you blatantly. Why is this happening? And I don't mean why on the visual level. I mean underneath. What happened in the last few years that resulted in all of this? Why is it booming? The answer is very simple, and it's an answer that for some reason not a lot of people are discussing. And that's that the legislature took the law against loitering off the books. It's as simple as that. What is loitering? It is what you're seeing out there. They are walking, they are circling. They are doing things that you don't want to see, that you don't want your kids to see, that shouldn't be happening in front of the schools. Why? Why is it allowed? Because the legislation took the law off the books. It's very simple. And where does my office come in? Well, we work for you. We're trying to help you. We're trying to clear your streets, and we're working on that right now. But to be frank, a lot of what we're doing, you won't see 100% full impact that you want to see until you go to your legislators and you tell them, we want the law against solicitation back on the books. We want a zero tolerance policy on loitering for solicitation. So let's go into our specific services. So we have a specific team that works on these cases, and I'm a part of that team. It's a really small team. Almost every single case is touched by all of us. It'll be really rare that there's a case that not all of us know about. We have a very hands-on approach. We work directly with the Long Beach Police Department. Whenever we get these citations, it comes directly to us. We prioritize them and we file them. Now, I want to talk about two piles. A lot of the times you hear about, oh, well, either we're going to prosecute or we're going to offer services. People treat it like it's and or. You can't have both. That's blatantly incorrect. My office, we do both. So what we do is we file the charge. Once they show up in court, we bring someone with us, not a stack of papers. We don't offer them services on a stack of papers, no. We bring someone with us and we offer them services. And that's what these two programs are. So DSP is very specific. What we do is we give them pretty much assistance, to be frank, mental health assistance, financial assistance. If they need somewhere to sleep, we help them. If they need to escape their abuser, we help them. And that's what you're seeing on both of these programs, the DSP and the LEAD. But I really want to emphasize that. People treat it like it's a one or the other approach. Prosecution or services, that is not true. We can prosecute them, file a charge. Upon successful completion of either of these programs, they get their case dismissed, right? So what do? We remedied them, we helped them, but we wouldn't have been able to do that if we weren't able to get them into court in the first place. And that's why it's so important to have these laws. Without the law against solicitation, the police department can't cite them. If they can't cite them, I can't file it. If I can't file it, they don't get access to this. And lastly, what we're doing right now, we're advocating for improved laws. So there's the new law that you just saw, it's the 379. That law is very focused on the people driving around in circles, for lack of a better phrase, the men in the transaction. It's a good starting point, but we want to see more at the Long Beach City Prosecutor's Office. We want to see a stronger policy, and that's what we're currently advocating for with different legislators. We're also looking into supervisory laws. So right now, the law is very simple. Sorry, am I over time? I am? Okay, I'll be really quick, guys. The law right now, it's a baby misdemeanor to supervise a prostitute, a baby misdemeanor. Misdemeanors are already so small, 364 days. Split that by half, because they don't serve the full time in the jails. These laws, this is a baby misdemeanor. It's a max of 180 days. So there's a lot of, I think, mistakes going on, and we really need to come together and go talk to our legislatures and see how we could fix the issue. Thank you, guys.
Good morning to you all again. It's actually a good segue going over some of the challenges with legislation. But if you heard me speak at a community forum, as I look around the room, many of you have. And I try not to tell you what I can't do as a police department, but I always talk what I can do. And when I came to the North Division as a division commander, I told you that violent crimes would be my main focus, but also the issues that we're having on Long Beach Boulevard. So now let's talk about what we can do and what we're going to continue to do. We've increased our patrols on the Long Beach Boulevard because of your community concerns. I know there's a lot of frustration. We work closely with our partners at the emergency communication centers. We get phone calls, and some of the calls are things that, as the city prosecutor's office highlighted, things that we can enforce. But like I said, what we have done is increased our patrol. In fact, we've increased our patrol by 300% since 2024. That's not light. That means there's more police officers being dedicated to Long Beach Boulevard. With that, we've increased our traffic enforcement. I know that they just talked about speed cameras. That's important. And what I will highlight is that we've actually rescued 2 victims of human trafficking on those traffic stops, and they were 14-year-old minors that were being trafficked. In addition to the, yes, clap for that. That's huge. That's huge. In addition to that, we've increased our proactive investigations. That's police officers understanding your concerns and going out there and getting the work done. With that, we had 39 felony arrests. 2 of those arrests includes pimps who was actually trafficking minors. And that's why this work, yes, thank you. Appreciate that. And that's why this work is important, getting out there and doing the work. And on that note, we're committed, and our partners in the city is really doing a lot to move this forward, this issue forward. And that's why I'm glad that I came up here after you had an opportunity to hear what the other cities doing, because you see the police department as the face, we're the forward-facing entity, but there's a lot of partners in our city that are doing a lot of good work. And with that, I will talk about the 7 rescues of the human trafficking victims that we have rescued. And I want to call them survivors at this point. 4 of those victims were actually rescued on the Long Beach Boulevard. 1 was rescued because of community members like you who saw something and called in. We were able to step in and rescue, yeah, absolutely. Community members like you stepped in and allowed us to rescue a 15-year-old girl. So you've heard me speak, many of you, and I say it's a collaboration. Our mission is to collaborate to reduce crime. That collaboration includes our city department. It includes our city manager's office, city prosecutors, our elected officials, but it definitely includes you. And I hear the passion, I see it, and I'm committed and as passionate as you are. The next thing I want to talk about is community engagement. We've come so far as a city, as a police department, and we know we're not going to arrest our way out of problems. So we want to get there and engage with you all. And I'm getting a sign to wrap it up. So what I will talk about next, quickly, we have our partners in the investigations division. They'll talk more about the investigation and the support service. What happens after we rescue these victims? They'll be able to answer your question and talk about that. You know what? I'm going to wait for the community space where we will speak and give you an opportunity to be respectful for everyone's time. We're going to get to you. With that, I'm going to wrap it up, and thank you all for being here, and thanks for your time.
All right, thank you, everybody. This is a lot of information. We're going to get through the rest of this presentation, and then we're going to hear from you as soon as possible. We are moving. So as you can see, this interdepartmental coordination is really, really important. We cannot do this without each other, and there's a lot of moving, working pieces, some things that we think about that were very explicit, and some things that are very implicit, and we don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but just know that there's a team of folks that are really pressing on here, okay? Also, we know that it's not just happening in Long Beach. It's happening around our borders. It's happening across the nation. This is really, really an issue. But strengthening that collaboration with our Long Beach Unified partners. We've got Long Beach Unified in the house over here, Long Beach City College, Cal State Long Beach, our local nonprofits and our faith-based groups, and the Human Trafficking Task Force. So we're really going to focus in on really strengthening those partnerships. They've been partners for a long time. And then also, in addition, Long Beach is building a strong relationship with LA 28, which is the organization committee for the Olympics and the Paralympic Games. As a host city, we're part of a regional effort to ensure human rights, prevention, and safety are built into every stage of planning. So those conversations are being had as well, as we know that these events are coming to Long Beach. And so we're going to use what we have within our partnerships and the urgency that you are experiencing and that you've shared with us to leverage those resources to move forward. And then, unfortunately, we're starting with limited resources. So I want to talk really quickly about the one-time funds that we received in the fiscal year 26 budget. We received one-time funds of $150,000. Some of that we're putting into action already. we don't have all the funding that we need, obviously. I keep saying that, but we're going to keep pushing so that we can build in our resource pool. Education and awareness are some of the most powerful tools that we can use right now. Awareness campaigns, staff training, youth education are small steps, and also that Safe Passage program that Teresa Gomez spoke about. I'm going to turn it back over to Allison to talk about our nuisance motel and alcohol abatement ordinances.
Okay, thank you, Teresa. Yeah. So in planning, we deal with land use, which includes how land is used, what can be built there, and what businesses can operate. We work very closely with business license, and you met Joni earlier. In 2018, after the homicide at the Luxury Inn, we did come forward as a city with a nuisance motel ordinance to create a cross-departmental structure for better addressing challenges at nuisance motels, including related to human trafficking. I'm sure many of you know, before the 710 was built, Long Beach Boulevard was much more of a tourist corridor, so we have a lot of motels here, but they're not all used in the same way they were originally intended, right? So if you are seeing issues related to motels, please make sure you're calling for service. We do look at police calls for service to focus on which motels have come into the program, and we're looking right now at how to strengthen both the nuisance motel and alcohol nuisance abatement program. Both of those are really about how the business operates, so it can get a little bit tricky to pin it all the way down to the trafficking activity, but please call and talk to myself after this if there is a specific motel or alcohol serving location that you want to make sure is being looked at. And right now we are working to strengthen the enforcement structures for both of these ordinances. We just put in the new budget a new fee for the alcohol nuisance abatement program, so those businesses will now have to pay a fee to register and then have to show that they're meeting the standards. The standards are about things like not covering the windows all the way, because we want to be able to see in and out, making sure the lighting is correct, making sure there's no more bars on the windows than are allowed. And so please let us know, or let your council office know if you do have a complaint. Those are both complaint-based programs, and we'll be coming out later this year with recommendations of how to strengthen both of these programs. But I also want to emphasize that in the long term, one of the greatest solutions we can do about nuisance land uses is to get them to turn into something else. There's about 120 motels in the city, citywide. We know there's not that much demand from a tourist perspective for the types of motels that are here today. And so how do we get those to turn into something else over time? And that's where incentives for redeveloping land come in. And so we're studying what else could be built in these locations. How could we get property owners to really start thinking about that? Part of it is to increase the enforcement and make it harder to keep operating the way they are, which is what we're working on right now. But the longer term solution is, what else can we build there? Can we get more affordable housing there, for example? Because we know housing is a big part of why people end up in this situation in the first place, because it is so expensive to live here in our community today. So I look forward to working with you all on these issues as we come up with more solutions. All right, just got a couple more slides, and then we're going to hear from all of you. Ideally, we'd love to have a dedicated team in the office. So we have all these departments. What's really important and what's hard is sometimes the departments can work in silos. They start doing their own, clearly there's a lot of focus areas, and the departments kind of can scatter and don't always talk to each other, not because they're trying to do that intentionally, just because there's a lot of work to be done. And so what a model that we have within the city is an interdepartmental model. Oftentimes they'll bring in a deputy city manager like myself who can help tie the pieces together. Ideally, we'd love to have a program officer and an analyst that could actually do the work. But for now, the team's stuck with myself and Grace. We're going to be helping to do the interdepartmental work until we can move forward and hopefully get a hired staff. All right, so getting connected. So these are within our city department, the environmental health team and the business licensing. So these are some contact information. We have other contact information for you as well. You can always reach out to myself and Grace also, and your contacts within the city council offices. And you have a lot of partners in the city as well who you can connect to, but they know how to connect to us if you have more questions there. And then we just always like to wrap up. We've talked a lot about how you all have been involved over the years and the different opportunities that are there. But we just encourage, we encourage you
to learn the signs of trafficking. You know, there's prostitution and trafficking, and there's kind of there is a difference between the two, and so that education around that is really important. And then we want to help build those connection pieces for others about learning the signs. I love it when I go into bathrooms in airports and different places, and I see signs on the back of doors, how people can really get help without being explicit and without in confidence they can get help. I think those kinds of education pieces are important, and also things where people know who to contact when they see something. And if you haven't done so already, I know many of you are doing community walks and cleanups, but continue to get engaged in those efforts. Connects with nonprofits like Gems Uncovered, Days Long Beach, and Long Beach Recovery Center. They're also doing a lot of work around this. Get involved with the task force. And then if something just doesn't feel right, we report that to the police department or the National Human Trafficking Hotline, and we can provide that information as well. So that brings me to the end of our portion, and we are really grateful for the time that we could spend with you, so thank you for giving us this space and this time. I know it was a lot of information, but I feel like it was really important information for us to share where we're at as a team so that we can connect with all of you. So I'll turn it over to the council office.
All right, someone stole my binder, so that's all right. We're gonna do this off the cuff. Thank you to the city staff. Oh, there it goes. Look. Thank you to the city staff for that very comprehensive presentation. While I go find where I'm supposed to be talking right now. Thank you to the city manager's office and all the presenters for sharing those important updates. We're getting ready to transition to public comment and Q&A portion, but before we do, I do want to call up our city manager, Tom Modica, is here, and I want to give Tom just 1 minute to kind of, I think we got a lot of information presented to you all, but I want to make sure that you all understand why we talked about all of these different elements, right? There was traffic cameras, right? There was community development, there was zoning, all of that, and I know that's a lot of information, but I want to make sure that you understand when we talk about this interdepartmental team, I want you as residents to understand why all of these programs, why all of this funding, why all of that helps us combat prostitution and human trafficking, and so I'm going to ask our city manager to do that. Thank you so much, Tom.
Thank you, Joni. So I know that everyone's here because you really care about your community and you care about this specific issue. You see it, I've seen it, I've driven the corridor. It is things we do not want to expose our children to, and you shouldn't have to live with that. But what we also heard from our prosecutor is the best and the easiest way to approach that is to go after it criminally. And that's the one thing that we cannot do. And we're working on that. We want to change those laws. But in the meantime, as a city, we're looking at that systems approach. And the reason we're doing that is because those are the tools that we have. So the reasons we talk about things like street improvements and lighting is to show that we care about this area, to show that the city cares, that the community cares, that we're going to try to uplift and change the activity that's happening. And so those are the tools that we do have. The number one biggest tool we had was to get rid of the luxury inn. I heard over and over and over from the community, from our council members and mayor, that was the big magnet, and so we bought it and got rid of it. Of course, we know the activity didn't completely go away. It's still out in the neighborhoods, and we're going to work on that. But we got rid of the major magnet, and we own that. We improved the streets to show that we care. We're putting in the traffic cameras to show and get people to slow down. We want people to get out and walk and bike. And if you have lots of activity out in the community, that activity doesn't stay there. When no one's out there, that is when that activity will be there. So that's why we even look at things like murals and lighting and these little improvements that you can make in your community. And then we know that as we're bringing more and more people into the city over the next 3 years, especially with the Olympics, that can sometimes have people go looking for that activity. So we need to be proactive now that we don't, have more people, coming to try to do that activity and show that that's not allowed here in Long Beach. And so the last thing I just want to say is I know you've talked about resources, and I wish we had all the money in the world to do all the things. But this budget, just like yours, is tighter. We're suffering from the economy and the stuff that's happening. But of the new resources that happened in this budget, the vast majority went to this area for this issue. And that really was because of your council member, your two council members, Tunua and Joni, and the mayor recognizing this is a major issue. So just to highlight that, $446,000 to get the Safe Passage program. Again, so for people to be able to be out on the corridor and with eyes being able to see what's going on to help with activation. And then $150,000 to really work with you you with community, get your ideas, and invest in the things that we talk about specifically on the corridor. So thank you for the time, and I really appreciate it, and can't wait to hear what you have to come up with. Thank you.